You ever drive through a town so small, so empty, that it doesn't even feel real? Like you're trespassing somewhere you were never meant to find? Yeah, me neither. Until last summer. I should have kept driving. I should have listened to that knot twisting in my gut. But curiosity, it's a killer. And Hollow Creek, it was hungry. I was on a solo road trip, something I'd always wanted to do, driving cross country, sleeping in motels, taking dumb pictures of road signs, the dream. Somewhere in Pennsylvania, my GPS started glitching, kept telling me to turn left, even when there was no road. Then suddenly, there it was. A narrow dirt road, half hidden by overgrown trees, leading into thick woods. The signpost was old and splintered, the letters barely legible. Hollow Creek, 2 miles. It wasn't on the map, wasn't supposed to be there. But I figured, why not? Maybe there's a gas station, or at least a cool story to tell. Biggest mistake of my life. The road was rough, barely wide enough for my car. Branches scraped against the windows like bony fingers. After what felt like forever, the trees parted, and I rolled into a town frozen in time. Main Street had maybe a dozen buildings, a diner, a general store, a barber shop with a pole still spinning somehow. But no people, no cars, no sound, except for the faint crackle of an old radio playing somewhere in the distance. I parked outside the diner and got out, stretching my legs. The air was wrong, heavy, still, like breathing inside a tomb. Inside the diner, the booths were neatly set, coffee pots steaming, pies in a glass case. Still fresh, and yet, not a soul in sight. I called out, "Hello? Anyone here?" No answer. Only that radio, somewhere out of sight, whispering an old, scratchy tune. Against better judgment, I sat at a booth and poured myself a cup of coffee. It was warm. Too warm. That's when I heard it. The faintest shuffle of footsteps behind me. I whipped around. Nothing. The door hadn't moved. No bells, no breeze. But the coffee pot had refilled itself. I left the diner fast, my heart hammering in my chest. Outside, the town didn't seem empty anymore. Shapes flickered at the corners of my vision, figures watching from the windows, ducking just out of sight. My car sat alone under the gray sky. I climbed in, jammed the key into the ignition. Nothing. Not a click. Not a sputter. Dead. Panic started creeping in. That's when I saw her. A girl, maybe 8 years old, standing at the end of the street. Pale. Dressed in old-fashioned clothes. Staring. She raised her hand slowly, pointing at me, mouth moving silently. One word. Run. I yanked the door open and ran. Anywhere. Anywhere but toward her. Behind me, I heard laughter. Childish. Cruel. The town had changed. Buildings shifted. Doors led to nowhere. Streets curled back into themselves like a maze. I was trapped. No matter how far I ran, I always ended up back at that same diner. The coffee pot waiting. Full. Mocking. Breathless, I slumped against the diner's wall. Talking to myself like a crazy person, I pulled out my phone. If anyone ever finds this, I'm leaving this recording behind. Maybe it'll help you survive this nightmare. And hey, if you're into weird, creepy stories like this, maybe subscribe to my channel. Might be the only way my story stays alive, even if I don't. I laughed weakly. But deep down, I already knew. No one was coming. Hours passed. Or maybe it was minutes. Time didn't seem real anymore. I wandered hollow streets, each one folding into the next. Buildings breathed. Doors groaned as if whispering secrets. At one point, I thought I found the town's exit. A straight, empty road leading out into the woods. I sprinted, lungs burning, but every step forward, the woods stayed the same distance away. The trees, they weren't trees. Closer now, I could see faces, twisted, gnarled into bark. Eyes locked onto me, mouths stretched wide in silent screams. This town didn't want me to leave. It wanted me to become part of it. I stumbled across the town library. Dust choked the air, but something pulled me inside. In the center of the room, a book lay open. A town ledger. Names, hundreds of them, neatly written. Each one crossed out with a slash of red ink. I flipped to the last page. A new name had been added. Sam Keller, my name. Fresh, still wet. And underneath it, scrawled in shaky handwriting, "You belong to Hollow Creek now." The town had residents after all, but they didn't walk in daylight. At night, they came. Flickering figures slipping between buildings, their bodies pale, blurred, like bad photographs. They whispered things I couldn't understand, until suddenly, I could. Stay. Eat. Sleep. Forget. Their voices drilled into my skull, scraping at my memories. I couldn't remember my parents' faces, my apartment back home, my own birthday. The town was eating me, from the inside out. In a moment of desperate clarity, I realized something. The town wasn't just haunted, it was alive, and it needed sacrifices to stay alive. Maybe, if I offered someone else, maybe it would let me go. The thought disgusted me, but survival makes monsters of us all. I remembered the girl, the one who warned me. Maybe she was still around. Maybe she knew the way out. Or maybe she was bait. I found her by the old well at the town's edge. She was humming a lullaby, throwing pebbles into the black water. When she looked up, her eyes weren't human anymore. They were hollow sockets, leaking shadows. "You can't leave," she said, smiling sweetly. "Not without giving the town someone else." "Why me?" I choked out. "You saw it," she whispered. "That's all it needs, a witness, an offering." She tossed another pebble into the well. "It's hungry, Sam. Always hungry." I asked her, begged her, to tell me how to escape. She tilted her head, considering. "There's one way," she said. "Bring another. Lead them here. Let the town feed." My stomach twisted. "I can't. I won't." She just smiled. "Then stay. Forever." And with that, she dissolved into mist. The well gurgled hungrily, and behind me, the whispers grew louder. I woke up back in my car, keys dangling in the ignition, engine purring. It was morning. Sunlight, real and warm. For a moment, I thought maybe I'd imagined it all, but the town was still there, just at the edge of my vision, waiting, watching, and in my lap, a pamphlet. "Welcome to Hollow Creek, a hidden gem." My hands shook. I couldn't leave alone. The town wouldn't let me. I had to bring someone back. Back on the main highway, I picked up a hitchhiker, a teenage kid, backpack slung over one shoulder, thumb stuck out hopefully. I told myself I was helping him, that maybe, he'd find a way to escape, that maybe the town would be satisfied and let us both go. But deep down, I knew he wouldn't, and neither would I. We were both already Hollow Creek's children. The GPS glitched again. The road appeared out of nowhere, framed by crooked trees. The kid smiled nervously. Are you sure this is the right way?" I forced a grin. "Trust me. You're gonna love it." As we drove deeper, the air thickened. The radio crackled. The trees leaned closer, and somewhere, far away, I heard the town's laughter. It was patient. It was eternal. It had found its next meal. And through the rearview mirror, I saw my reflection, smiling, but it wasn't me anymore.